Clark Kent, the man of tomorrow, the big blue Boy Scout, the Metropolis Marvel, the Man of Steel, Kal-El, the last son of Krypton. I'm of course talking about Superman. Now I love Superman. Given the choice of the world's finest, Batman or Superman, I'm picking Supes every time. Now go ahead, call me boring. Batman is cool, Superman is a lame wad, I hear you saying through the screen. That's right, I can hear you through the screen. But I wholeheartedly disagree. Bruce is cool, but compared to Nightwing, Tim Drake, Spoiler, Penguin, Ra's al Ghul, Man-Bat, Zaz, Mr. Freeze, and Barbados, the Demon Bat, Bruce is just a little lackluster to me. I love Batman stories and read them often, but not for Batman, for everyone else. Superman, on the other hand, captures everything I love about superheroes. He wants the most good for the most amount of people, and even though he has immense power, he's never truly sure of himself, and has a support system of people around him to help him navigate the line between power and responsibility. Basically, if you like Spider-Man, Superman is the herald of that archetype, even down to working for a newspaper, but with one major difference that means the world to me personally. They both lose their father figures, but in Peter's case, it was preventable.
The thief was running towards me. I could have stopped him, but I wanted revenge.
Clark couldn't stop his father from dying. Jonathan Kent dies of a heart attack. Heat vision, super strength, and flight couldn't have saved Pa Kent. Clark always has to live with the fact that he can't save everyone, and that life is fragile and precious. But I'm describing Superman comics. Film is a different endeavor. We're about to get the 4th Superman movie in my lifetime. None have captured what I love about the Man of Tomorrow, but maybe the 4th movie from before my lifetime can. Superman 4, The Quest for Peace, is the lowest rated Superman movie to date. Everyone clowns on it, but I like to find the good in things. So, my goal is to prove that the worst Superman movie does a better job of showing us Clark than any film has in the last 30 years. I will watch Superman 4, The Quest for Peace, on repeat until I can find 5 examples of it being a truly great Superman story. Now, I saw this movie once as a child and once in high school, and I don't remember any of it, but I'm excited, so let's get right to it. Alright, guys. I have got myself an energy drink. I am in a room with not just the original Superman blue cover, but also a picture of Superman blue that I drew. I have impeccable taste when it comes to Superman, and I am ready for my first viewing of Superman 4, The Quest for Peace. Wish me good luck. So while I go watch, let's talk about what this movie's actually about. Superman saves some Soviet cosmonauts in space, heads home to Smallville, and finds the last power of Krypton in the ship that brought him to Earth. A rich cowboy tries to make Clark sell his farm to a Walmart. He goes back to Metropolis, saves a subway full of people, finds out the Daily Planet has been purchased by a tabloid Mongol. Meanwhile, Lex Luthor escapes from prison, and with the help of his nephew Lenny, the nuclear arms race is heating up. Clark is torn whether to intervene until a little boy writes him a letter asking him to help. Superman throws all the nukes on Earth into the sun. Lex Luthor straps the clone DNA of Superman to a nuke, and when it's thrown into the sun, it creates a nuclear man. Clark and Superman go on a double date, which is very cute. Superman fights Nuclear Man, throws him into a nuclear power plant, killing him, throws Lex back in prison, and apologizes for creating a nuclear power vacuum. Then flies into space and smiles at the camera like a gentleman. We just finished Superman 4, The Quest for Peace for the first time. It was better than I expected or remembered. And Clark doing aerobics is the funniest thing I will ever see in my life. I'm going to make dinner. Dinner's made. Time for our second watching of Superman 4, The Quest for Peace. I can't wait to see those aerobics again, man. That shit was so funny. So I fell asleep during the second viewing. During the first fight between Superman and Nuclear Man. I got 2 pages of notes, so that's good. I'm gonna go spend time with my wife, and then I'll see you guys in the morning to watch Superman 4, The Quest for Peace, the third time. We're 2 viewings deep, and I already have my first piece of high praise.
That's high praise!
Every scene in this movie with Chris Reeve and Margot Kidder, it perfectly illustrates why I love Lois Lane, and why she is one of the most important characters in the history of comic books. It doesn't matter how much self-doubt Clark has, or at what point in their relationship they are. They could just be meeting, or they could be married. Either way, Lois sees Clark for who he really is. Not as Superman, or a mild-mannered nerd, but a person who is forced to try their best every day, and who every other citizen of Earth sees as a character in one way or another. But Lois sees a person. Not to be too cheesy, but I relate to this a lot. I was diagnosed with autism in 1998. I have been seen through many different lenses and painted with many different brushes, but it wasn't until I met my wife that someone saw me as a person, not as a character or as an archetype, but just as me, the way I am. She is my Lois Lane. But sorry, that was too serious. Fart, butts, and fart. Is that better? But my point is, Chris and Margot capture this feeling perfectly. So good job, movie. Just got up, and it is time for a full day of Superman 4: The Quest for Peace. I'm about to start my third watch through. This is gonna sound weird. I can't wait for the end of the movie. That's a great place to add a joke about, like, cause it sucks. The credits are my favorite part, but actually, I just love when Clark flies past the camera and smiles at me in space at the end. He's looking right at me. Superman, of all people. Right? He thinks I'm his buddy. My second piece of high praise.
That's high praise!
Is Clark is super pro working class. He doesn't want to sell the farm to a big developer. He tells Lacey he won't write tabloid stories. He became a journalist to tell the public the truth. He makes sure that the people have a safe public transit system to go to work on time so they can feed their families. You know, many people have written Superman throughout the years, and he's had many changes in his values depending on who's writing. The New 52 Superman was a bully and a jerk, so DC killed him off. So it's just nice to see a Superman who cares about regular people above corporate influence. That's a good moral that Clark would absolutely have. God. Okay, so we just finished our third watch through. I gotta say, I'm having a Rogue One problem. That is, I was right before this one. That outro is so good. Him smiling at me, it's like Darth Vader in Rogue One, where I don't really remember any of the movie at the end because I'm so stoked about Superman flying in space. I do gotta say, I wish I had like a Superman shirt or at least like a bow tie so I could dress up like Jimmy Olsen. I forgot to record a lead-in for the fourth viewing. We're in the fourth viewing right now. But I gotta say, because I haven't said it yet, the fact that Superman's genetic material is strapped to a nuclear weapon and shot into the sun to create a nuclear man, that's fine. The fact that it gives him a sun-shaped nuclear man logo on his chest is brilliant. I love it. Good thinking. I don't know where in the genetic schematics you put the logo, Lex. But I'm proud of you. Well, we just finished the fourth viewing, and I don't know. I feel like I'm not getting sick of this movie. Isn't that supposed to happen? Isn't this a bad movie? Wasn't that the whole point? Isn't this a bad movie? Why am I not getting sick of it, or bored, or tedious? I could watch Lois speak French all day. That little line where Clark goes, "Lois is going to France?" Awesome. I don't know. I'm having
This movie's great.
While out running errands, I came up with my third piece of high praise,
That's high praise.
and that is Lex and his plan. It's the perfect balance of comic book cheeseball logic, stealing Superman's genetic material to create a nuclear man, and real-life evil businessman logic. Lex's real plan is to manipulate the military-industrial complex in his favor. That could be a Bond movie. That could be a great American novel. That could be a realistic news headline in real life. It's motivated by his hatred of Superman, and yet yields outcomes that don't seem too far-fetched for real billionaires.
Lex Luthor sneaks into the museum to get Superman's hair for the genetic material for the nuclear man by hiding behind a bush, a shrub. I can see why people maybe don't love this movie. Or at least I'm starting to see. I mean, he's Lex Luthor, for Christ's sakes. Lacey, he's not into you. Why would he be when he's got Lois Lane? Contacts make your eyes itch. That's pretty funny. That kid's a genius. He wanted to get his letter to Superman, right? But he didn't write it to Superman. What he did was wrote it to Superman, care of Lois Lane at the Daily Planet. Genius, kid. She wrote that whole article interviewing Superman in the first movie. You know that she has him as a contact. He's in the old Rolodex. Superman says, drop dead, kid. Jimmy Olsen's cool. Like, Jimmy Olsen's really cool. I always thought it'd be rad if they gave him like a Green Lantern ring, or you could give him a different colored lantern ring. I don't care. But then have like an arc where, like, you know, the Green Lantern ring is the Green Lantern costume is a construct of the ring. So it can look like whatever you want, and you could obviously, Jimmy being Superman's best friend, would make his Green Lantern costume look like Superman. And then slowly learn to find his own identity as a superhero. I don't know. I always thought that was the logical thing to do with Jimmy Olsen. They did it with Rick Jones in Marvel. They turned him into the Blue Hulk Ajax. But I guess no one cares about Jimmy Olsen, except for me and Jack Kirby. Betrayed, betrayed. The intro is so long. Yeah. Clark can't hit a baseball. You hold out for a real farmer, Clark. You don't let this rich businessman tell you what to do. Superman had forced himself to carry on. Forget Krypton and keep going. Those are cool shoes, Lenny. Lex, why are you wearing that little scarf? Margot Kidder is timelessly beautiful. Superman! One moment. People know that our subway system is still the safest and most reliable means of transportation, blah blah blue. Remember, Superman cares about public transit. Jimmy Olsen! I only read the ledger. One, two, three, four, five. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 1, 5, 4, 5, 3, 5, 2, 5. 1, 5, 4, 5, 3, 2, 1. 1, 5, 4, 5, 3, 2, 5. 1, 5, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Clark loves Lois. That it's cute. They really do hit on, in a very good way, the fact that Lois Lane is the only person on the entire planet who truly understands Clark. Even when she doesn't know who he is, you know? We just got to the end of our 7th viewing. I'm tired. I gotta say. I thought I loved this movie. Now it's a curse. This was a bad decision. I am more tired of this movie than Lex is tired of Superman. And I'm so close. That's the other thing, right? I'll tell you, 7 viewings, I came up with a bunch of ideas. Or 6 viewings, I came up with a bunch of ideas. And then it just stopped. And now I'm restless. And not looking forward to tomorrow. So, I'll see you in the morning for upwards of 5 or 6 more viewings of Superman 4: The Quest for Peace.
So I hung out with my wife for a bit and went to bed.
Hey there, super pals. I couldn't sleep, so I guess we're gonna watch Superman 4 for the 8th time. I'll probably fall back asleep while watching it, honestly. But it's literally already on the television, so here we go.
I did, in fact, fall asleep and don't even remember recording this next part.
Good old movie.
But I woke up bright and early to take on another full day of Superman 4: The Quest for Peace.
So for today's viewing, I tried to dress like Jimmy Olsen, but I don't look like Jimmy Olsen. I look like the world's weirdest talk show host. I don't know. But let's go. Viewing number 9 of Superman 4: The Quest for Peace. Woo!
Tried to cram 4 viewings in a row with no break, and clearly I grew restless. So yes, I played Pokemon and Paddleball and read comic books, but it wasn't a complete waste because I got my 4th piece of high praise.
That's high praise.
Lenny Luthor. I don't know what it was, but I would be distracted, and then Lenny came on screen and sucked me in. Jon Cryer really brought it with this performance. He's a genuinely lovable evil goofball. He called Superman the Dude of Steel.
The Dude of Steel. Where are you gonna get it?
He traps prison guards in a remote-controlled car. I wish there was more of him, honestly. I read that Jon Cryer was really stoked for this role, and you can tell. He's having a friggin' blast, and I really love him. I know they brought him back as Lex Luthor for Crisis on Infinite Earths, but I didn't watch that, and I'd rather have a Lenny Luthor show. Alfred Pennyworth has his own show, but Lenny Luthor is washed away by the tides of time? I don't think so. Hashtag justice for Lenny, hashtag release the Lenny cut, hashtag Lenny Lex 2024.
Superman told you to drop it dead, kid. Sorry, I got distracted again. I was reading Superman meets Top Cat, you know, like the Hanna-Barbera character. Anyone who's like, you're not even watching the movie, this is like, I've watched it like a dozen times in the last like 40 hours. You gotta give me a minute, okay? I'm sure we can get back into the rhythm of things. I'm just having a hard time. Alright, I took a break, changed my clothes, purple on purple. Because I think dressing like Jimmy Olsen just distracted me. I think I can cram 3 more viewings in before my wife gets home from work. So let's try to focus up and power through. And because we only need one more thing. I just need to find one more thing that proves that this is the best Superman movie ever.
Now, while I go watch Superman 3 more times, I want to talk to you about one singular line in this film. Superman says to Lex, "It's common knowledge that you hate children and animals, Luthor."
It's common knowledge that you hate children and animals, Luthor. What are you doing back in Metropolis?
Common knowledge. He didn't say I've known you long enough to know that you hate children or animals. Or he didn't say, one of your henchmen told me you hate children and animals. It's just common knowledge. Imagine that in our world. Oh, Elon Musk, he owns Tesla and Twitter. Oh yeah, and he friggin' hates puppies. Bill Gates, known for founding Microsoft and kicking toddlers, has died today at the age of 117. Well, yeah, Warren Buffett said the key to success is eating McDonald's every day and burning anthills with a magnifying glass. Sorry, that just really got me. Back to watching Superman for me. I'll see you soon. We just finished our 15th watch through. I know I changed shirts again. I sweat like a crazy person. My bad. But we're done. I've done it. Me, and Superman made it through together. And I think we're better friends for it. My fifth and final piece of high praise.
That's high praise.
Is the framing of Superman as a citizen of Earth. This film does a fantastic job from the first scene of that. He saves Soviet cosmonauts despite Superman being an American and it being the Cold War. He doesn't care. The Cold War isn't Superman's fight. Clark even speaks Russian and Italian. He saves people throughout the world and tries his best to communicate with them on their own terms. He's a sweetheart. And inspires a worldly mindset in others. The Russian we see is singing Frank Sinatra, an American icon. Then Superman ends the nuclear arms race because he can no longer ignore the threat of mutual destruction. It isn't about him or Smallville or Metropolis. It's about the world and the people Clark shares it with. They deserve a tomorrow, and that includes everyone, even the man of tomorrow. We literally see Clark cut his ties with Krypton at the climax of the film, but Krypton was never truly his home. Kal-El's true home is Earth.
We've reached the end. I know that Superman 4 is not a perfect movie, but I gotta say to all the people who reviewed it back in the day or now, Metacritic, who gave it a 24%, Rotten Tomatoes, who gave it an 11% or maybe a 16%. You should have paid closer attention. It only took me 15 watches over 2.5 days to realize that Superman 4: The Quest for Peace perfectly embodies some of the core qualities that make a perfect Superman story. But now that we've reached the end, I have to reveal a secret. This video was supposed to be about Star Trek 4: The Voyage Home. I'm a pretty big Star Trek fan, and I have some hard opinions about that movie that everyone seems to love. So, for one, if you like this, like and subscribe. But if you want to see me do this with Star Trek 4: The Voyage Home, leave it in the comments, and maybe we'll do that next time. Now I gotta go figure out why they never used gold kryptonite in these movies. I'll catch you guys later. Peace.